This is a razor clam hunt, late November 2017. I was actually in the area staying at beautiful parks at the outlet of the Columbia River. This is on the Oregon side near the jetties. Just happened to be in the area and I knew there was negative tides, which is when you go hunting for razor clams. It has to be a negative tide to below the zero on the low tide mark, and just happened to be there and saw everyone getting ready, and I was like, oh man, why didn't I get ready to do this? But anyhow, it was actually great. Got this great video. As you'll see later, I went the next couple of days, and the tides were later and actually in the dark the second day. So it was great being able to get this video and not have to actually be clamming, and I learned a good bit too. So this is on the Oregon side, like I said. I know on the Washington side, they make it pretty fun, pretty inexpensive to just go and get a 3-day permit. You can see the razor clam there. They actually dig into the sand, and those little depressions, those dimples, are called shows. So the water flow, the sand flow is going through the clam, and that's how you figure out where they are. These are called clam guns. Anyone that lives in the area, this will all be very elementary information, of course, but this is for the novice, this video, and just for fun. You've got to dig, and they actually move. So some people are okay to get them with a shovel once you're experienced, but you've got to be really quick because they can feel the vibrations and they know you're coming after them, so they start digging down deep in there. Also, the limits, I think on both sides are 15, and you have to take every clam you get because you could kill them or crush their shells because they're kind of a delicate shell. They're big and unusual in my experience from the clam world is they're moving and they're not in beds necessarily in muddy areas like other clams of the area. The butters, the cockles, the gapers, the gooey ducks up further north, all those things. This clam lives in the surf and often, from what I understand, considered the best clam in the world. And in my experience, they are really, truly delicious. They're very different than what most people would consider like an actual clam flesh. They're not rubbery or hard. They're kind of very delicate. You do have to clean them, of course, like any other clams. Get the sand out, the debris. Here's one I got in the dark. This is on Long Beach now on the Washington side. Kind of came up with maybe my own kind of idea for cleaning them. Everything I'd read about online or talked to people about involves putting the clams in boiling water for a short amount of time. And as a chef and wild food chef, I kind of didn't like that. I don't want to start any cooking process, even if it's slow. So I got my trusty utility blade here, fully extended. This one was a little bit not totally sharp. It was a little bit dull, which is probably good. And certainly don't recommend anyone using these except with extreme caution, and certainly if you're not very experienced with them. I use them for work, I use them for mushroom hunting, I use them for everything, so they're kind of a second part of my ham. Did find some porcini in the area. Unfortunately, it was a really bad year, so didn't get a lot of mushrooms. Fall 2017, from what I understand, met a few kind of commercial pickers out, and they said even the chanterelles and a lot of other things. Once you're 50 miles inland, there was almost no commercial season at all in the Northwest. This is pretty late in the season, and it was been mild, so I know the matsutake were coming out, so chanterelles were being found, and probably still are now here the second day of December. That's the clam flesh. Cut out the guts, the sand, rinsed it a few times, go back in and really rinse it more, get that sand out. Again, you see the flesh is different than other clams that I have been with. Definitely a very human-like flesh quality. Many ways to cook them. They're totally delicious. Beautiful, beautiful meat.